Good evening. I'm Gianna Manes. Tonight I'm going to share with you some personal reflections on a topic that is front and center in the public dialogue today and also near and dear to me, the expanding and evolving conversation of energy. Energy in all its forms is fundamental to modern life. It fuels the world around us, everything from cutting-edge technology to basic human needs. The ever-present critical nature of energy is one of the reasons why I believe the conversation of energy must be conducted with great responsibility and care. What we say, and more importantly, what we ultimately do, holds implications for decades to come. For almost 30 years I've been in the energy sector. I became fluent in the language of energy. In the electricity business, we speak of megawatts and capacity, turbines, capacitors, output, infrastructure, rates, and ratepayers. Now, it is true, electricity and the entire energy complex is technical and based on principles of science. It would be fair to say this industry is more science than art. The science and technology we deploy has changed over time quite significantly. But as much as the technology has changed, the art of the energy conversation has changed even more. Today's energy conversation is multidimensional. It is technical, political, social, environmental, and economic. It has converged with social license, economic development, and community impacts. It is about security. It is about our quality of life, not only today, but for generations to come. So it comes as no surprise that it is also personal, not just for those of us vested in building the future of energy, but for those of us who rely on energy and are impacted by energy choices we are making as a society. In other words, everyone. Today, when an energy company is proposing a development, whether it's a pipeline, a power line, a power plant, it is a different conversation and audience than the past. Every dimension is explored, debated. Implications, both far and near, are brought to bear. Broader ideals are brought to bear. The energy conversation fast becomes a conduit for the expression of these greater ideals. The energy conversation has also expanded. It is no longer just occurring in back rooms and boardrooms or with those who are most immediately impacted. It is now part of the social dialogue at all levels. The proliferation of new forms of communication, instant access to information, social media, real-time sharing of news and ideas have all taken the conversation into the mainstream. To illustrate, when I started my career, public consultation and conversation was focused on those people most adjacent to facilities along the pipeline, near to a power plant. When there were public meetings, attendance was small and the issues were local. Fast forward to today. While local engagement is still the case and is still necessary, our town hall conversation is most often taking place before media and social media and with participation that is a near infinite audience. Right here in Calgary over the past years, Enmax was building a relatively small power line expansion along a 5-kilometer corridor in the south part of Calgary. And for that small project alone, we were consulting with over 30,000 people, individually and directly. Now let's kick it up a level. For the bigger, high-profile projects in Canada and beyond, we are hearing millions of voices emerge, and many are far removed from the location of the pipeline or the plant. And these voices are just as engaged in influencing the outcomes as those directly impacted, and increasingly more so. So what has this meant for the industry? For energy companies, we've had to change. We are learning new language to better participate in the conversation. It's no longer about ratepayers, but customers and value. It is about having conversations with others rather than talking to them. It is now about active listening on what matters to stakeholders rather than what we think that everyone should know. We are learning that despite the fact that these iterations and interactions are often in forums that can be forwarded, retweeted, and visible to millions, more than ever, it must be a human conversation and personal. And while we are still learning, we have some catching up to do as we shift from just communicating our message to actually connecting. So as participants in this dialogue, what suggestions do I have for you? First and foremost, arm yourself with information. Becoming informed is the first step toward effective contribution that moves the conversation forward. Choose your sources thoughtfully and be prepared to learn and listen as much as you are prepared to share and engage. Secondly, be prepared to practice the art of balance and trade-offs. Choices in energy, as in choices in life, are truly that, choices. And they must be informed not only by what you are pursuing, but what you want and what you are prepared to leave behind. And this willingness to accept the need for balance is needed now more than ever, whether by industry or by policymakers. There is no silver bullet in the energy equation today, and we must all be prepared to accept the reality of choice and balance in order to move forward. And finally, beware of the pitfalls along the path that can emerge and stall the conversation. Uninformed and misinformed are distinct concepts, both challenging to advancing the energy conversation. Uninformed is simply that, not knowing or being fully aware. Misinformed is different. It is the use of partial or sometimes inaccurate information, whether placed intentionally to advance an interest or not. But it often masks as knowledge and credible information. We all know intellectually, just because something is on the internet or said many times does not make it accurate. My suggestion is, although difficult, is to keep your inner radar tuned. Be open to new and sometimes conflicting perspectives before forming your own. Energy is critical to our way of life. Here in Canada, in Alberta in particular, critical to our economy, as is the conversation around its future. As a leader in a company that provides the most essential of services, electricity, I am encouraged by and want informed stakeholders who will engage with us and hold us to the highest standards. These are standards that you should expect from energy companies that serve you. I look forward to the discussion that we're going to have this evening and to building our future energy conversation together. Thank you.